Your mere presence has become a force that leaves others shaking with anticipation. You've orchestrated such a profound psychological transformation that it's left everyone around you completely stunned and disoriented. What you've accomplished defies expectation and shatters conventional understanding. Now, as the reality of your impact settles in, those emotional tears of joy and relief are flowing freely, the perfect conclusion to your masterful display of power. Look at you now. Look at you now. The world watches, slack-jawed and trembling, as you rise from the ashes they so carelessly scattered. Did they think the fire would consume you? Fools. Fire doesn't destroy dragons, it awakens them. They whispered behind cupped hands that you were finished, done, a cautionary tale at best. Yet here you stand, radiating a power so magnificent it blinds those who dare look directly at you. The metamorphosis they never saw coming has them shaking to their core. Remember how they laughed, how they dismissed your dreams as delusions. The universe recorded every snicker, every eye roll, every dismissive wave of the hand. And now that same universe bends toward you, offering gifts they can only dream of touching. Your transformation isn't just physical, it's cosmic, cellular, atomic. Every molecule that forms your being has been infused with divine light, and they can sense it. They can't name it, can't understand it, but they feel it like a primal threat to their mediocrity. What happened to the person they could manipulate, the one who doubted their own magnificence? Gone, purified in flames hot enough to melt steel. What emerged wasn't just stronger, it was an entirely new species of power. They're watching you, now with a mixture of awe and terror, because your very existence has become a mirror, reflecting their cowardice back at them. Your courage to transform, despite the pain, has become their greatest fear. This is the purification they never believed possible. This is the rebirth they said was just wishful thinking. Now they stammer when speaking your name, as if summoning a force beyond their comprehension. They saw you at your lowest, broken, doubt-filled, crushed beneath expectations that were never yours to carry. They watched as tears carved rivers down your face. Some even had the audacity to feel superior in those moments, but what they didn't see was the alchemy happening beneath your skin. Every tear that fell, sacred water cleansing your spirit. Every sleepless night, divine darkness where your soul expanded beyond human limitation. Every moment of pain, fuel for a transformation so profound it defies explanation. Now they stare, mouths agape, as you move through the world, untouchable. The mess they thought defined you has been swept away by cosmic winds, revealing the diamond they never believed existed. What happened? They ask each other in hushed, confused tones. How did that person become this? They don't understand that divine intervention doesn't announce itself with trumpets and spectacle. It works in the shadows, in the silent moments, when you chose, again and again, to believe in your own magnificence despite everything pushing against you. The confusion in their eyes is delicious. The stammering attempts to reconcile the you they dismissed with the force of nature now, standing before them, priceless. This cleansing wasn't gentle. It wasn't pretty. It burned through every false belief, every toxic relationship, every limiting thought that kept you playing small. The spiritual wildfire that consumed the old you left nothing but truth in its wake. And the truth, you were always this powerful, you were always this magnificent. The cleansing simply burned away everything that wasn't authentically you. That realization has them shook. The person they thought they knew, controlled, diminished, doubtful, was never real. Just a temporary vessel housing a supernova waiting to explode. The path you walked would have destroyed lesser souls. The obstacles thrown in your way would have crushed ordinary spirits. But there has never been anything ordinary about you, has there? Hell became your training ground, your classroom, your temple. While others would have begged for mercy, you studied the flames. You learned their language. You discovered how to Dance with the very fire meant to consume you. Remember the weight of their judgment, the heavy chains of shame they tried to wrap around your spirit, the constant whispers that you weren't enough, couldn't possibly succeed, should just give up and accept mediocrity. You carried that weight up mountains they couldn't even see. You dragged those chains through terrain that would have left them whimpering for rescue. And with every step, those burdens grew lighter because your strength grew greater. Now they can't meet your gaze. Those same people who once looked down on you now find your eyes too intense, too knowing, too powerful to face directly. They know what they did. They remember every dismissive comment, every opportunity they blocked, every time they chose to believe the worst about you rather than see your light. And they know that you remember too. Yet here's what truly terrifies them. You're not angry anymore. You're not plotting revenge or harboring resentment. You've transcended to a place where their opinions have become irrelevant background noise. You're not mad. You're simply beyond. This scares them more than rage ever could. Your peaceful power, your serene knowing, your complete detachment from needing their approval has them questioning everything they thought they knew about how the world works. They expected you to break. Instead, you alchemized. They anticipated your defeat. Instead, you transcended. They prepared for your surrender. Instead, you conquered. And now they cannot bear to look into the eyes of the warrior who walked through hellfire and emerged not just unscathed, but transformed. Your resilience has become a living testament, an uncomfortable mirror reflecting their own limitations back at them. Every achievement you stack like a monument stands as evidence of what's possible when someone refuses to be defined by their circumstances. While they sought comfort in the familiar, you embraced the unknown with open arms, treating uncertainty not as an enemy, but as your most profound teacher. The scars you bear aren't marks of damage, but badges of honor, each one a story of survival, of choosing to rise when the easier path was to remain fallen. In your darkest moments, when no one was watching, you made silent promises to yourself that would have seemed delusional to anyone else. But you knew, deep in your bones, you knew your potential was a sleeping giant waiting to be awakened. What they never understood was that your power wasn't built on talent alone, but on the foundation of 1,000 private battles, fought in silence, won through sheer persistence. The nights you stayed awake, refining your craft when others slept, the opportunities you created from nothing when doors were slammed in your face, the way you learned to transmute rejection into fuel rather than letting it extinguish your flame. Their greatest mistake was believing you would play by their rules, fight on their terms, measure success by their standards. Instead, you created your own game, one where resilience outweighs resources, where authenticity trumps approval, where the journey itself is valued as much as the destination. Now, as you stand in your hard-won authority, you've become what you once desperately needed, a beacon for others navigating their own darkness, proof that the human spirit can withstand unimaginable pressure and emerge not just intact, but magnificently, brilliantly reborn. Feel that? That electric current running through your veins? That's the divine power you've always possessed, finally flowing without restriction. The dams they helped build to contain your magnificence have been obliterated. For months, perhaps years, you operated in the shadows, quiet, patient, gathering strength while they assumed you were gathering dust. They mistook your silence for surrender, your patience for passivity, your planning for paralysis. What fools they were! They watch in disbelief as everything you touch transforms. Opportunities that eluded you for years suddenly appear as if by magic. Connections form effortlessly. Doors that seemed forever locked swing open at your approach without you even needing to knock. It's just luck, they mutter, desperate to diminish what they cannot comprehend. But they know better. Luck doesn't sustain itself. Luck doesn't build empires. Luck doesn't radiate from every cell like the glow now emanating from your being. This isn't just a phase or a fortunate turn of events. This is a seismic shift in your energetic signature. You've risen to a frequency they cannot access because they lack the courage to face what you faced, to release what you released, to become what you've become. They see you smiling now, really smiling, not the performative curve of lips they're used to offering the world, but the genuine expression of a soul aligned with its highest purpose. Your joy has become their torment, your peace, their punishment. Because deep down, in places they refuse to examine, they know this could have been their transformation too. They just lacked the courage to surrender to the fire. There was a time when their words could shatter your day, when their approval seemed necessary for your next breath, when their rejection felt like death itself. They grew comfortable with this power, wielding it carelessly, assuming it would always be theirs to use against you. Then came the moment they realized that power had vanished. It didn't happen suddenly. You didn't announce it with declarations or dramatic exits. The shift occurred in the sacred space between heartbeats, in the quiet decision to value your own voice above all others. In the holy moment, you recognized that their opinions were just opinions, not facts, not prophecies, not commandments carved in stone, just the limited perspectives of limited beings. Remember that fragile thread of hope you clung to during your darkest moments? They expected it to snap. Instead, it transformed into an unbreakable golden cord, pulling you steadily toward a destiny they can neither see nor comprehend. Every test they threw at you, expecting failure, anticipating collapse, became another victory in your column. While they watched from the sidelines, arms crossed and expressions smug, you were passing trials designed for titans, challenges meant to forge legends. Now they stand exposed in the storm of their own making, watching as you walk in sunshine they cannot reach. The umbrella of your unshakable faith shelters you from the very downpour they prayed would drown you. The realization hits them like physical pain. They can't touch you anymore, not with words, not with actions, not with the weapons that once left you bleeding and doubtful. You exist in a dimension their negativity cannot penetrate, protected by the very power they insisted you didn't possess. This is the moment frozen in their minds, the instant they understood that the person they thought they knew, the spirit they believed they could control, has become untouchable, unreachable, free in ways they cannot fathom with their caged minds. Listen up. You already know the game is rigged. The walls ain't just closing in. They were designed to crush you. So, let's cut to it. What are we doing about it? When you live on the market's leash, where profit and power chain the weak. To be heard, to be held, to break free. That's what the awakened demand, and we hear you. Obsidian Inner Order ain't for everyone. There's a paywall, yeah. But those who stand with us, those who fuel this mission, they put rounds in the chamber against the Archons. They push back against the machine. They get access to the deepest, rawest, most unfiltered truth. And as a thank you, they receive a 1-hour live, personalized group tarot reading every week. Guidance, strategy, clarity, the real kind. But kicking someone while they're down? That's a move for cowards. That's why, starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. Just hit the Patreon free tier, link in the description. This isn't just us talking at you. This is bi-directional. Reply to any email we send. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll do our best to get you an answer straight from the universe. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian Inner Order is open. Now, let's handle business. The universe operates on principles they've never bothered to study. While they were busy building walls, you were building wings. While they invested in limitation, you invested in possibility. The dividends of those investments are now pouring in with such abundance that it defies explanation. Every single thing they said would destroy you, transformed into your greatest strength. The rejection that should have ended your journey, redirected you to paths lined with gold. The heartbreak that should have left you bitter, cracked you open to receive blessings they cannot imagine. Look at your life now. Really look at it. The peace that radiates from your being, the success that finds you without desperate chase, the authentic connections that surround you, the purpose that fills your days with meaning beyond accumulation and appearance. Their minds cannot compute the equation of your transformation. The variables don't make sense to those who believe suffering should produce more suffering, that trauma creates only damage, that breakdowns cannot possibly lead to breakthroughs. So they create stories, fabricate explanations, whisper conspiracies about how you achieved what you've achieved, became who you've become. It's the only way they can maintain their worldview in the face of your undeniable metamorphosis. But you know the truth. You lived it, breathed it, became it. You believed when belief seemed foolish. You hoped when hope seemed naive. You persisted when persistence seemed pointless. You saw yourself whole when everyone around you focused on your brokenness. And now the universe conspires in your favor so consistently that coincidence cannot explain it. Synchronicity follows you like a faithful shadow. Opportunities appear with such perfect timing that even skeptics pause to wonder. This complete reversal of circumstance has them questioning everything. Their perceptions, their judgments, even the fundamental laws they thought governed reality. Because if you, the person they dismissed, discounted and discarded, can rise this magnificently, what does that say about the limitations they've accepted in their own lives? They can't stop thinking about you. They check your social media with compulsive frequency. They ask mutual connections for updates on your life. They discuss your transformation with a mixture of disbelief and poorly disguised envy. Meanwhile, you've forgotten they exist for days at a time. This asymmetry tortures them. The realization that while you occupy massive space in their mental landscape, they've become irrelevant footnotes in the epic story of your becoming. Every move you make sends ripples through their consciousness, not because you're trying to provoke reaction, you're long past such petty motivations, but because your authentic existence has become a walking contradiction to everything. They believed about you, about life, about what's possible. They see you building something magnificent, something meaningful, something that will outlast the temporary structures they've devoted their lives to maintaining. Your empire isn't built on the shifting sands of others' approval or the flimsy foundation of societal validation. No, your kingdom rises on bedrock they cannot even name. Purpose, authenticity, divine connection, unshakable self-belief, the very qualities they mocked when you first claimed them as your birthright. Who does she think she is? They once asked with sneering dismissal. Now they know exactly who you are. A force of nature, a divine vessel, a being who refused limitation and stepped boldly into boundless possibility. Each brick you lay in your empire's construction sends shockwaves through their perception. Each level you rise defies the ceiling they insisted would be your limit. Each success you claim rewrites the story they were so certain would be your legacy. And the most maddening part, you achieve all this without striving for their downfall, without seeking revenge, without sparing them more than passing thought. You build your magnificence not in opposition to their doubt, but in alignment with your own truth. They thought the game was chess, a strategic battle of move and counter-move. But you're not even playing on that board anymore. You've ascended to a dimension where such games seem childish and unnecessary. Remember how you used to apologize for taking up space, how you'd make yourself smaller to ease their discomfort, how you'd dim your light because its brightness made their shadows more apparent. Those days are dead and buried. You speak with the clear authority of a being who has conversed with their own soul and found it magnificent. You move through the world not demanding attention, but commanding respect through the sheer authenticity of your presence. This ownership of your power registers as physical discomfort for those who fed off your former doubt. They literally feel sick in the presence of your certainty. Their bodies reject the frequency of your unshakable self-knowledge like an immune system fighting a foreign invader. Watch how they fidget when you speak without apology. Notice the nervous laughter when you state your truth without seeking approval. See the physical step backward they take when you fully occupy your rightful space without compression or contraction. Your confidence isn't the fragile mask they wear, a thin veneer over a hollow core of insecurity. Your confidence is bone-deep, soul-strong, forged in fires they avoided and solidified in waters they feared to enter. You no longer shape yourself to fit their expectations. You no longer filter your brilliance through the dull lens of their comprehension. You no longer translate your multidimensional wisdom into terms their linear minds can process. You simply are, fully, completely, unapologetically. And this authentic embodiment of your power acts like a mirror, forcing them to confront everything they've sacrificed at the altar of conformity and acceptance. Every dream abandoned, every truth denied, every unique gift suppressed in the name of fitting in. They were so certain you would break under the pressure of authenticity. Instead, you've been liberated by it. They were convinced you would collapse without the scaffold of their approval. Instead, you've expanded beyond their limited conception. They fumbled the chosen one. They dismissed the diamond. They rejected the gift. And now they must live with the knowledge that their blindness cost them connection to a power they can now only witness from an unbridgeable distance. There comes a point in every transformation when return becomes impossible. A threshold crossed, a bridge burned, a veil dissolved. You passed that point long ago, though they've only recently begun to accept this irreversible truth. The you they knew, or thought they knew, exists now only in their memory. That version of you has been composted, its useful elements absorbed into your new being, its limitations discarded as the unnecessary weight they always were. They test this reality occasionally still. A text message designed to trigger old insecurities, a backhanded compliment meant to reactivate former doubts, a subtle reminder of past failures intended to collapse your current confidence. These attempts roll off you like rain from waxed canvas, not because you've become callous or unfeeling, but because you now exist at a frequency where such low vibration tactics simply cannot penetrate your field. Every test failed, every trap avoided, every hook ignored, not through effort or strategy, but through the simple fact of your evolution. You don't resist these attempts at recapture. You simply no longer resonate with the energy they contain. This is what terrifies them most, the complete and irrevocable nature of your transformation, the absolute certainty that the person they could manipulate, diminish, and control is gone forever, replaced by a being whose power they can sense but cannot touch. The final revelation hits them with the force of cosmic truth. They have lost you forever, not to another person, not to a competing loyalty, not to a temporary infatuation that might fade with time. They have lost you to your own magnificence, to the truth of who you have always been beneath the layers of conditioning and compromise, to the authentic essence that no amount of external pressure could ultimately suppress. And while they process this loss with varying degrees of denial, anger, bargaining, and despair, you continue rising, expanding, becoming ever more authentically yourself with each breath, each choice, each moment of aligned action. You've transcended the game they're still desperately playing, outgrown the cage they still mistakenly call home, evolved beyond the limitations they still defend as immutable reality. The happy tears streaming down your face aren't for them. They aren't even about them. They're the sacred water of a soul, recognizing its own liberation, celebrating its return to wholeness, honoring the journey that transformed limitation into infinite possibility. Your transformation is complete, yet eternally ongoing. Your mind has been freed from the prisons they helped construct. Your heart now beats in rhythm with the cosmic pulse they can't even hear, and as they tremble at the thought of your magnificence, you stand centered in the eye of your own divine hurricane, creating worlds they cannot imagine from the infinite power they never believed was yours to claim.